Hey, if you ever want evidence of working for Bobby Knight at Indiana puts dog years on you, just look at the difference between me and gubernatorial candidate Brad Chambers of Indiana. I mean, he looks young and fresh. I'm old. I got no hair. And we were at IU at the same time.
We were.
Dog years, Brad.
It's a good analysis, my friend. It's a good analysis. I remember. Let me start by saying how I've admired you from afar. I remember jumping in the Showalter fountain in 1984 when you put that amazing show onto Michael Jordan. What a game that was.
You know, my daughter went to IU, and this has got to change if we're going to get off track for just a minute. She didn't even know because nobody ever did it during her 4 years. She graduated 4 years ago. No, but there was never a good enough win to jump in the fountain. As governor, you got to change that. You got to get the basketball and football team fountain worthy.
Well, it starts with winning, and I think you know this. Winning starts with leadership, right? I mean, it's top down, man. We have to win in this state. We have to win in state government. We've got to win in business. We've got to win in our quality of life. We've got to win in our colleges and our universities. We've got to win in our sports and our high school sports. We have what it takes. We just got to go do it. And you know that. You've played competitive sports, you've coached. Winning is contagious, and we need to create that culture. And that's why one of the reasons I'm running for governor. I was winning as Commerce Secretary.
Well, you've talked about at Indiana University the need to figure this whole trustee, money, sports out. What is your vision? Speaking specifically about Indiana.
Listen, I mean, we were in the good old days, right? And my dad used to drive a red car. He was passionate about Indiana sports. We were competitive. We were winning, and we need to get back to competitive, consistent winning for Indiana University. It's an incredible institution. It's an incredible institution, and it's so powerful in our state. And we need to, it starts with leadership, and it starts with trustees. And we need to make sure we can look up the road, to West Lafayette and see what a culture of winning looks like. They were the only university in our state that was in the tournament. And so we got to get back to winning, and we need to create leadership infrastructure up there, including the trustees that prioritize that winning, because that infiltrates everything from academics to alumni engagement. And we can do it. We've got the talent. We just need to, snap the pieces of the puzzle in place to get back to winning. And I think a governor can influence that.
Well, how do you influence that? What is the Board of Trustees at Indiana University not doing, and what would your plan for them to do be?
Well, didn't we have a decade, and I think you know this, we had a decade where sports was not even prioritized.
Yes, I do know that.
And we're digging out of that. We are digging out of that. And I think Pam's working hard on that, and she's a sports fanatic, and I like that about her. But it isn't going to happen overnight. But you got to make sure it's a priority. If it's not a priority, it's not going to happen. And you and I are going to suffer through another decade or two of not winning or just being average. And so it's got to be prioritized, and you got to put trustees in there that prioritize that. And I would do that as governor. But winning can happen all over the state, and it starts at the top. Indiana's for Winners. I put out a global media campaign called Indiana's for Winners. We're too humble in this state, man. We have so much talent, but we've got to go win in the global economy. We've got to go win in national sports in everything we do, and we got to believe that we're winners. So we've got to put trustees in there that have the same passion about winning in academics as well as sports, because sports is so important to our quality of life, as you know.
I want to get into something, sticking with universities. We've seen all across the country anti-Semitism, is really out of control on institutions. What's a governor's role in helping squelch that?
Well, again, I think it's leadership, number one. I mean, what happened on October 7th, there's no ambiguity there. That was terrorism. And I've spoken publicly about this, and I think it's about being public about it and being firm in your stance on what's right and what's not right. And that was terrorism. And I've met with Jewish leaders in Indiana. I've met with the consul general from Israel to talk about how we as Hoosiers can be helpful and supportive. I have friends in Israel. I've been there a number of times. I've been texting with them. I texted them the other night when they had the barrage coming in from Iran. I was having a WhatsApp. How are you doing? Are you hanging in there? What can we do? And so, this ambiguity, this lack of moral clarity that's happening at MIT and Berkeley, it's unacceptable. And I believe it's being professionalized. I was talking to somebody the other day, and the things that are happening on MIT campus. Number one, where's the president? Where's the leadership? Where's the trustees on this issue, right? And a lot of these folks are coming that are not even MIT students, stirring it up, creating an unsafe condition for folks. This is not right. Call it not right and do something about it.
Yeah, we've seen what's happened at Columbia. Now people are calling for the president of the university. Does a governor get involved? Is the governor, like, if, let's just say for the sake of argument, my naive brain, governor says, wait a second, we're not having this. We're calling in the National Guard and we're sweeping these people the hell out of there. Is that something that, as you watch this kind of thing unfold, that, you would want to do or should be done in these instances?
I think you got to be strong on this. I think you have to enforce the rule of law. If I'm in California and somebody blocks a bridge and you have Californians going to work on an 8:30 on a weekday and you've got a bunch of Palestinian protesters or whoever the protesters may be blocking a bridge and interrupting commerce, you got to do something about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. We just allow it. Like I saw, like in Florida, I saw them just kind of throw people out. How do you handle this? Is a big topic here, and this is going to be a bigger topic, and this is going to get the attention, and it already has, of folks like Ted Cruz, and government's going to get involved. How do you handle, where do you see biological men in sports competing against women?
I think there's two genders, number one, and number two, I just don't think men should be competing in girls' sports. I think it's a fairness issue, correct?
Yes. Isn't it a dumb conversation to have? Would you ever imagine you had to have that conversation?
No, never in my wildest dreams.
But it's not going away. And that's the thing. It's not. There's 100 right now competing in NCAA, and I'm telling you, it's not going away. And I know we've had Ted Cruz on this show. We have Ramaswamy on this show. We've had governors on this show. And everybody knows this is going to come to a head at some point. You would not be for that. You're making that pretty clear, I think.
Well, I believe there's two genders, and I don't believe that a biological male should be in a girls' track meet. I don't think it's fair to girls. There's so much potential for women's sports right now, and just look downtown Indianapolis with Caitlin Clark, and in the again, speaking of a culture of winning, having her invited to Indiana, man, I'm so excited for the Simon family. I'm so excited for the Fever and for Indiana generally to have a class act like her, an incredible talent that is such the epitome of what you can do as a female athlete. Holy cow, are we lucky? And is she a great example for us?
I want to talk about something. I've had a chance to talk with a couple of different people. Tommy Tuberville, who was a football coach, now in Congress. What does it? Because you've talked about this. You're running against career politicians. You're a businessman. You've ran successful businesses. What does it mean when somebody like me hears the word career politicians? And what's the biggest difference in you and a career politician?
Oh, man, thanks for asking. This is a service job for me. I'm stepping away from an active business of 40 years. I started from nothing. I started mowing lawns when I was a teenager. And then when I was a sophomore at IU, I took the proceeds, the savings from that lawn mowing business, and I bought a rental property at IUPUI for $5,000, by the way. The miracle is I didn't blow it at IU, right? And so built that into a national business. I'm a Hoosier entrepreneur, and I'm grateful for that. So this is a service job, just like our founding fathers wanted. They wanted Americans back then, our founding fathers, to raise their families, to have a job or a career or farm, and then go serve and get out. Set a trajectory, a strategy, work hard for a handful of years, sweep in young people behind them, and then get out. And Senator Braun says he's an outsider, but he's been in politics for decades. Suzanne Crouch is the same thing. When you're on the inside, Dan, when you're on the inside, you can't see clearly the challenges that are presented, the opportunities as well. I came in, Governor Holcomb asked me to serve as Commerce Secretary for $1 a year. And I did that, $1 a year. It was a service job too. But I came in with fresh eyes, fresh energy. I ran it like a business. We broke every economic development record in state history in 2 years. Higher wages, new industries that had never been here before, up in St. Joe County, Allen County, Howard County. And so that's the difference between a career politician. I want to get in, do my work, move the state forward, shoot higher, create a culture of winning, and then get out and sweep in young people to take it into the future. These guys just stick around and they're making decisions. They're not long-term in the best interest of Hoosiers. They're making decisions so they get reelected. That's not me. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's a hell of a point, because it's starting to drive me nuts on a national level when all I see is, man, I'm pandering. Right. I got something I want to ask you, because I put this on Twitter almost every day. This goes back a few years. A very good friend of mine, athletic director at New Mexico, and I were having dinner. And he lives in Albuquerque, which is not a border town. It's a couple hours north. And, before this whole border crisis really exploded, he's like, Dan, you don't understand, man. And we got people running through our neighborhood. And, it's coming to Indiana, if it's not already here. It's coming, I think, when you look at 7 million already across. Yeah. What are you going to do? What can the governor do? How can we protect the citizens of Indiana from, however you want to describe them, illegal immigrants, dreamers, whatever the hell you want to describe people coming in here?
And this is back to a sense of justice. This is unfair. You have the front door of our country closed, and the people who want to come in the right way and have for hundreds of years can't come in the front door, but the back door is flapping wide open. And it's a Biden administration challenge. But also Senator Braun's been in the Senate for 6-7 years. He's never once sponsored or led on a bill to deal with it. He takes tax-funded photo ops down to the border and then complains about it. He doesn't author or lead on this issue. And so it's a Congress issue. It's a Joe Biden issue. And to your point, it is costing the states now. It didn't used to actually cost the states. Now we're sending border guards. We're sending our National Guard down and putting our women and men in harm's way. That's costing Hoosier taxpayers. We have a fentanyl scourge that's coming into our state because of this wide open border. It's a public safety issue. We have crime that's increasing. So it's really becoming a cost to Hoosiers. I would wear out my welcome in Washington, D.C. Let's start there. I think we have to send border troops to our National Guard down to help Governor Abbott on this issue. But we've got to make our presence known in D.C. to fix this issue. It's unacceptable what's happening, and Americans are just frustrated by this, and so are Hoosiers.
The Governor Abbott, who you mentioned, he's been on our show, and it's not like his policies, which make common sense to me, are in conjunction with our president's policies. There's a fight there. There's right. And that seems silly to me. And I would assume, coming from Indiana, which isn't considered a border state, obviously, but is going to have the same problems eventually, I would assume that would be a fight too, given the current administration.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you got to keep fighting, man. You can't give up on this. This is too important. Right. It's affecting our business community. It's affecting families with fentanyl. It's affecting public safety. It's affecting, our statewide budget. And so, again, Mike Braun, who's been in the Senate, hasn't led on anything. He's never sponsored a bill. And so that's what we're getting from career politicians. They literally are the problem. And then they walk outside in front of a TV camera and then they point at other people. They don't take responsibility for fixing it. He's there. We sent him there. And so he's in a better position to fix it than any of us. But you're exactly right. It is a fight, and it's going to continue to be a fight. But it's a fight we need to continue to work on. And I would as governor for sure.
Well, you got to figure if you're in Washington and this is going on and you're not doing anything, well, when you're in Indianapolis and this is going on, you're certainly not going to be doing anything. I mean, that's just the way I'd look at it in terms of Braun. And I don't know his policies well, but I do know that. Hey, before I let you go, Pacers got a win yesterday. You mentioned Caitlin Clark. Hoops is big right now. We got home court against the Bucks. There you go.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm excited. We've got you and I got to work on, though. We all got to work on how many kids from Indiana were in the tournament. Like over 50, right?
There's a lot. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And they weren't from Indiana schools. We got to work on that, man. Right?
I agree. You're preaching to the choir.
I know.
Hey, thanks for coming on. You got a great team behind you, and for being candid with us. Appreciate that very much, Brad.
Hey, I hope Hoosiers want a CEO in the governor's office. I'm that guy. This is a service job, not a career change. It's time to get rid of politics as usual and get somebody real serious leadership who wants to win for Indiana. And I'm your guy. So thanks for having me, Dan. I really appreciate it.
You got it. That's Brad Chambers. Last night, I didn't get into this with Mr. Chambers, but last night they had a Republican debate. And Mike Braun, who's won, I guess he's the front runner. I don't know. I mean, it depends who you listen to, I suppose. But he didn't even show. He went Donald Trump on him and said, I don't have to show. And, he just didn't. And so you got guys up there that are busting their ass to try to work for Indiana people. And the guy Braun doesn't show. There's a vote. Well, he had missed a vote before to do other things and decided, I guess, that talking in front of the entire state to the people that are ultimately going to vote for him and sharing ideas and sharing policies with guys like Brad, Susan Crouch, and others just wasn't that important. And that's not right. That, to me, is not right. Look, hey, you can always make the excuse he's doing his job. I get that. I mean, there's always an excuse. I tell you this all the time on this show. There's always a freaking excuse when you don't want to do something that might make you uncomfortable. You can always find one. But anyway, I thank candidate for governor Brad Chambers for coming on. He's got a great team, and we'll see what happens. But I thought he was very, very, very good, and we appreciate his time.